I bought the cheapest laptop on Amazon that cost only $200 and optimized it for its max FPS.
So inside of this box is the cheapest laptop that I could find on Amazon. And this laptop was actually labeled under a gaming laptop as well. So I mean, hopefully this thing could run some decent FPS. From the listing and the pictures, this thing just looks like your typical office school laptop. But there were some reviews that said you could run games on here. But obviously this thing is not gonna run games really well. So I'm gonna try to honestly optimize this thing. And this laptop only costs about $200 on Amazon. Since there was like a ton of clip-on coupons you could actually use, this thing dropped down from, I believe, $500 to only $200 on Amazon. So I mean, yeah, this thing is definitely a really cheap laptop. I'm pretty sure people would honestly just buy this for like schoolwork or like office work, but we're gonna be seeing how good this thing is for gaming. So kind of just taking a look at the specs. The CPU is an N97. I believe that is an Intel processor. We have 16 gigs of RAM and 512 gigs of storage. Now, like I said, I'm gonna try to optimize this school gaming laptop. I'm honestly not even sure what this is. I'm just gonna call this thing a school laptop. So I'm gonna try to optimize this thing and we're gonna see if we could turn this thing into like a gaming PC. And since it only costs $250, if I can manage to push this thing above 100 FPS, this is definitely a pretty solid gaming laptop. And this laptop is the LX15. I believe a company called Ace Magic. And that company is actually really popular on Amazon. They sell a bunch of cheap PCs and like cheap laptops. And this one apparently is their LX15 laptop. And I mean, just take a look at the design. This thing definitely looks like a school laptop. At the same time, it kind of looks like a gaming laptop, mostly because of this logo right here. And I'm pretty sure this thing is just like a faux plastic build. For $250, this thing shouldn't have like the best premium build to it. Like the keyboards kind of feel like an office keyboard. The screen, I believe, is only 60 Hertz, which definitely sucks. But if you guys could optimize this thing and push it to its absolute max FPS, you guys can honestly connect this thing to a monitor. And for a $250 laptop, I mean, pretty solid deal if you guys could get above like 100 FPS. So I mean, yeah, this thing definitely seems like a office school laptop. It's probably just best suited for office work or schoolwork, but I really do like this logo right here. Kind of has like the gaming vibes, like I said. Let's go ahead and turn this thing on and see how good this thing is for gaming without optimizing this thing at all. And also just listen to like the clicking noises on this touchpad. Kind of reminds me of like a Chromebook. Okay, so taking a look at the graphics preference, you guys can see the GPU is just running integrated graphics. It is the Intel UHD graphics, which I'm pretty sure is just integrated graphics. And I just realized how wobbly this laptop is. I barely even touched this thing and it just started wobbling like crazy. Definitely in the cheap side for build quality. And if we take a look at the CPU, we have an Intel N97. I'm honestly not even sure what that is, but we also do have 16 gigs of DDR4 RAM. I'm pretty sure this laptop meets Fortnite's minimum system requirements. So let's go ahead and try to download Fortnite real quick. I'm pretty sure it can honestly run Fortnite. It's just gonna run at like super low performance. All right, so I finally got Fortnite downloaded onto this school laptop. And this thing literally took forever to download. I had to leave it overnight. Downloading Fortnite was moving at like 5% every hour. It was just crazy. But I mean, if you guys just take a look at these raindrops on the Fortnite lobby, these things are moving at like 10 frames per second. So I already know the FPS is gonna be really bad, but let's go ahead and test out the max FPS this laptop can get. Okay, so as I was loading in, Fortnite obviously just crashed. And this is like the 5th time it happened. So I'm just gonna keep trying until we can get into creative and see the FPS this laptop can get for. And then afterwards, we can go ahead and optimize this thing. And honestly, I feel like I could fix the crash issue. Okay, so now we can take a look at the max FPS this laptop can get. Right now, we're pushing at about 75 FPS, which is definitely a lot more than I expected. I mean, I was expecting this thing to get like 10 to 15 FPS. For only a $200 laptop, this is actually not that bad. There's definitely a lot of potential for this thing to be optimized, but right now as I'm building, we're dropping down to around like 15, 25 FPS or so. But like for the most part, running at about 60 FPS sometimes with integrated graphics on this laptop, it's actually pretty good. But let me go ahead and drop down the resolution real quick. We're gonna go on to 720p and let's see if this can help like maintain our FPS. Okay, yeah, it's definitely a lot smoother now. We're getting about like 85 FPS. That's actually crazy. It's not getting as much frame drops, but as you guys can see, it's still there. But the game is definitely a lot smoother. That's actually pretty good. As you guys can see, I can literally at least build now. I'd say we can run consistently at about like 45 FPS, sometimes even like 65 FPS, but the main problem is just the frame drop. It's honestly not even like a frame drop. It completely just like freezes. It drops entirely down to like 10 FPS or so. But yeah, for the most part, this thing is definitely somewhat playable for at least a $200 laptop. I mean, we're pumping close to 100 FPS right now with no frame drops on 720p, so that's actually pretty good. But let's go ahead and actually optimize this thing first. Okay, so the first thing we're gonna go ahead and do is just mess around in the Windows settings, turning on some things that can optimize our game. And honestly, on a laptop with integrated graphics, there's not much you could really do, but let's go ahead and first start off by going into our game mode settings. And yeah, game mode is already on. I guess they turn it on by default, so let's go ahead and leave it on. And then below that in graphics, even though we are on integrated graphics, I'm pretty sure you can go ahead and still set Fortnite on its highest priority. So let's go ahead and find Fortnite game, binaries, Win64, and then we have Fortnite client Win64. Go ahead and select that. And yeah, you guys can see we have the integrated graphics, but we can go ahead and still set it on high performance. So let's go ahead and set it on high performance. There we go. And we can go ahead and move on to the gaming tab. Let's go ahead and go into captures. You guys want to make sure this thing is off. We're not going to record anything at all. Just literally just turn everything off. Okay, we should be good. And quickly, I want to see if the display is a 60 hertz display. I'm like 90% sure it is. Yeah, it's just 60 hertz at 1080p. Next thing I want to do is go into our power plan, and we're just going to force this thing onto high performance. So let's go ahead and click on create a power plan, click on high performance, so we could push all the performance out of this laptop. And we're not balancing anything with like power consumption. So let's go ahead and click on that. Click on never for all of these, and we should be good to go. And then last thing before I get into registry tweaks, let's go ahead and get into Epic Games. And by default, every time you install Fortnite, you guys basically want to change this setting. So click on the three dots, click on options, and right here under high resolution textures, I mean, you guys can already see how much storage it's using. But not only that, you guys want to uncheck this thing since you guys want to literally run on the lowest textures for this laptop. But you do want to turn on pre-downloaded stream assets, just so if you guys are in a fight or anything, all your textures are already pre-downloaded and rendered, just so we can help with our frame drop. So let's go ahead and apply that. And yeah, that should be everything for like Windows settings and everything already downloaded. Okay, so the first program I'm going to be using is literally my favorite program. It is Chris Titus's window utility, which has enough tweaks for you guys to actually optimize this laptop. So we're first just going to start off with this application, which you guys don't even need to download. And also another thing I realized about this laptop is that it's just really slow on internet. It takes forever to load in. And if you guys take a look at my internet, I mean, this thing is full bar. It's not even my internet's problem. Like I was saying, this application, you guys don't even need to download it. It runs directly from PowerShell. And it basically already has a bunch of registry tweaks for you guys to use. It also can optimize your windows, so you guys don't even need to do that manually. So yeah, I will have it linked in the description for you guys to use as well. Let me go ahead and actually get to it. It's just like really, really slow. Okay, so here is the Chris Titus utility Windows tool, which basically just runs directly from your PowerShell. You basically just need to paste in the command into PowerShell, and this thing will literally just pop up. And I mean, you guys can see on the top, there is a tweaks section with a bunch of essential tweaks and advanced tweaks for you guys to actually use. You honestly can't do much with a $200 laptop. So first, I'm just gonna go ahead and click on all the standard recommendations for your tweaks, which basically just selects a bunch of tweaks for you guys to use. And then I'm gonna go ahead and just select some of the advanced tweaks for me to use. So first off, you guys want to use disable background apps. You guys want to make sure to disable your notifications. And there are a bunch of other advanced tweaks for you guys to actually use. You are sacrificing a lot of things like removing Microsoft Edge or removing Microsoft Copilot, stuff like that. But for something like OneDrive, I can go ahead and remove that. And now that we have the tweaks I want to use for this laptop, we can go ahead and just click on run tweaks. And the first thing it does is create a restore point for you. So definitely really, really helpful. But yeah, in the PowerShell, it's creating a restore point. And then finally, it's gonna be running all the tweaks. So you guys should be seeing it's running scripts for all these tweaks right now. Just like that, it ran a bunch of tweaks. And yeah, super helpful for this laptop. I mean, I didn't need to download anything and it just runs a bunch of registry tweaks. And it's also doing a disk cleanup for me. So definitely really helpful. If you guys are optimizing a low-end laptop, I definitely suggest this application. It literally has everything you need to optimize a laptop. And while the tweaks are still running from the Chris Titus tool, I actually forgot one thing, and it's to adjust the appearance and performance of Windows. And we're just gonna go ahead and click on adjust for the best performance. Basically just unchecking all these things right here. And honestly, it makes your Windows look kind of weird, but you're gonna prioritize performance over Windows or like display, anything like that. And right off the bat, you guys should be seeing like the text and like the colors look kind of weird. Honestly, if you guys want more performance, you guys will need to get used to that. And you guys want to go into the advanced options and go into virtual memory. And basically what we're going to be doing is just taking off some workload from our actual RAM. And you guys can check your RAM by going into your task manager. And I'm pretty sure this laptop is 16 gigs. Yeah, we have 16 gigs of RAM. And what you guys want to basically do is select custom size. And then afterwards, you guys want to type in the amount of RAM you have and multiply that by 1024. It should give you this number right here. And then this number you guys want to type in over here. So we have 16384 for our initial size MB. And then the maximum size is basically just double that. So go ahead and multiply that by 2. You got this number, and then we can go ahead and just type that in. And this basically just allows us to have more memory or memory usage for Fortnite, putting everything else into like virtual memory. So go ahead and just click set. And then another thing is core isolation. You guys want to make sure to have memory integrity on. On default, I think it is on off. So go ahead and select that and we should be good to go from there. All right, so the next thing I'm going to be doing is running a bunch of registry tweaks from my Discord server. I will have the server linked in the description if you guys want to run these tweaks as well. And first, I'm just going to download this right here, which is a Windows 11 optimizer. And this thing right here should pop up. And first thing we're going to be doing is removing all these apps right here that just run in the background and are just like completely useless. So basically just click on move all and you guys basically have all these right here. Just like that, we clean out all the temporary files and all the useless things we don't need. And you guys can see there are a bunch of stuff. There's 113 things in the recycle bin. Next thing is customize Windows 11 with open tweak. Basically just tweaking up your Windows. So go ahead and click on fix issues and it just creates another restore point for you guys. So definitely really helpful and it's really quick. It just optimizes your PC and all these features right here. And yeah, from there we should be good to go with this application. And then last thing, we're just gonna go ahead and import this updated game user setting. You guys can go ahead and just download this real quick. Once you guys have it downloaded, press on Windows and R, type in %local app data %. And we're basically just gonna drag in the new game user settings into our old one. And the old one's actually less optimized, so having the new one is definitely helpful since it optimizes Fortnite's quality and the graphics for the best performance. So go ahead and just drag and drop that. And yeah, you guys should be good to go. You guys can also empty your bin, which has the old game user settings. So go ahead and do that. And yeah, let's go ahead and restart this laptop now and check out the FPS we get. Regardless, I'm gonna go ahead and plug in this laptop into a monitor. It should also give us more FPS and hopefully it could also solve like the Fortnite crashing problem because I know it is like a display problem with the laptop. Okay, so connecting this laptop to a monitor definitely also helped with the FPS. But after all the tweaks, this laptop is running at a pretty solid 145 to 160 FPS. Now, even though the FPS only increased about 60 FPS, it's honestly not too bad considering this laptop's only $200 and because we are still running on integrated graphics. And as I'm building right now, it doesn't drop too much frames. We're getting down to about 110 and we're definitely not getting any of those frame drops that completely just freeze your game anymore. The game is just so much more playable right now. Even though it's not even getting that much FPS, it's definitely still very playable compared to before. As I'm building, we're getting about 80 to 90 FPS. Yeah, definitely not too bad. Definitely really playable. And now taking a look at the FPS we get in an actual game. With this laptop, we're getting at about 90 to about 100 FPS or so. The only problem is, as you guys can see, it's just really inconsistent. We're slowly dropping down to around 70 or even like 50 FPS. Like previously in an actual game, we were running about like 15 to 20 FPS. Even connecting it to a monitor definitely helps stabilize our FPS as well. Like in an actual game, we're pushing at about a max max FPS of 110. Pretty consistent, I'd say like 65 FPS or so. 90. Oh my. Dead? Yeah, fighting this guy, we're dropping down to about like 75 FPS or so. Bro, what do I even do? This guy shooting me is getting us actual frame drops. And also the heavy shotgun, just straight up garbage. Some parts of the map we are running at about 100 FPS, but it's honestly pretty rare to keep a pretty consistent 100 FPS with this laptop. Like just slightly moving, we're dropping down to about like 75 FPS or so now. Don't take that. Don't take that. Crack. Oh my, oh my. Someone right here. Dead. Perfect. Oh my, oh my. 30. Crack. Oh my. Oh my God, bro. It's, we're actually getting some decent frame drops. So yeah, right now we're running at about 80 to 100 FPS. That's kind of like the FPS you would get just from like not doing anything. But when you get into a fight, it drops down to about like 50, 60-ish FPS. Crack. Oh, I can't aim, bro. Okay. Okay. Let's go. Perfect. Hopefully I just get no frame drops. That's the only thing I need. Just no frame drops and I win this. There's no way. There's no way. No way, bro. Oh my. How did I win that? How did I win that? There's no way I just won. Yo, that jump was so good timed. Oh my God, bro. I was literally running at like 65 FPS the entire time. Finally, at endgame, we pushed at 100 FPS consistently, man. Let's go, bro. GG's.